Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, we're going to be having a discussion, drip feed content or releasing everything at once. Today, we're going to be talking about Rockstar's style of how they do DLC updates in Grand Theft Auto Online and how they go about releasing the content. So if that just kind of skipped over your head, you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say drip feed, that's the way that Rockstar's, I guess, recent year of DLCs has gone, where they initially release the content, and then during the following weeks, there's content that they can add into the game via tunables, which are basically in-game light switches for Grand Theft Auto Online, where Rockstar just have to change a couple lines of code, and then new vehicles, content, clothing, and more can be added into the game. So basically what we're going to be doing is having a discussion on the pros and cons of that style, which is better, and how it could ultimately work for the upcoming Gunrunning DLC, because it might be a whole lot different, and comparing that to the old way that Rockstar used to do DLC content into the game. So first and foremost, let's talk about the next update that's going to be coming into Grand Theft Auto Online, the next downloadable one. That is going to be the Gunrunning military militia style DLC, and FunMW2 has actually talked about this a little bit on the GTA Forum site. He put out two things. So this is his response to someone that was talking about Gunrunning and how they would be disappointed if drip feeding was the method they used for that DLC. He said the update, referring to Gunrunning, would introduce new CEO/MC related work with the possibility of new SecuroServe missions to unlock the new military vehicles. Vehicles used within the new missions won't be drip feed and would be released alongside the update. So basically what he's saying is that in the new update, Gunrunning, there's a possibility that instead of Rockstar keeping the majority of the cars or vehicles for a later date, that they would simply be locked behind mission walls and that you would have to complete the mission in order to get them done. Now he also follows up by saying, I'm just pointing out that with the import-export update, Rockstar have added SecuroServe as a contact, so they could make use of that. They usually don't, because during development, they can add anything they want and not be restricted to something. Not to mention with the recent update, they really like the idea of having discounted prices if you have done certain missions, because that way they can increase the prices of vehicles without having people complaining. I can expect to see the same thing done with the new military vehicles. So obviously that is not confirmed information, but FunMW2 believes that the Gunrunning DLC is not going to be using the drip feed content, but instead all the vehicles will be released at once, but will instead be held behind mission walls, or you'll have to accomplish something before you can actually get the content. The last time Rockstar did this was with the heist update, and I actually don't think it was a bad system. So I think you had to do the first heist in order to unlock the Armored Kuruma. I think it was either the second or third that got you the Savage and the Valkyrie. I know the Humane Labs raid got you the Insurgent, both versions of that. And then I think the last one got you like the Electro Bike or the Casco or something along those lines. I don't remember the specifics of them. All I know is there was a lot of vehicles that you had to get unlocked through completing the heist missions. And FunMW2 believes it could be the exact same way. He also mentions Rockstar could use SecuroServe as a contact, which I actually think could be pretty cool. And as we've been seeing, Rockstar have been doing various discounted prices on a lot of items. So all of the import-export special vehicles, they have a discounted price and a normal price. They just did the same thing with the heist vehicles, and it's likely they're going to do the same thing with the returning player bonus content like the Duke of Death, the Stallion, those sort of vehicles that are going to be added into the game soon. However, now let's talk about the idea of drip feed versus the old way of Rockstar adding content into the game. So we're going to be talking about the pros and the cons of each one. So let's start with drip feeding and Rockstar releasing the content kind of gradually via tunables. So the pro to that is that the life of the DLC is extended. So instead of the content being released all on day one and then possibly enjoying it for 2 or 3 days, you're likely to get a month, depending on the size of the update, even longer, of new content that will be continually added into Grand Theft Auto Online. For example, with this last DLC, Special Vehicle Circuit, we've got the Progen GP1, the Rustin, we're expecting 2 classic cars, a bunch of adversary modes. So it gives us a lot to look forward to in the next couple weeks, and it also keeps the time between the next update to be not so painfully as long, whereas we'll be able to enjoy new content even though it's a smaller amount without having to wait so long for the next bit of update. However, the con to this is a couple things. Number one, in recent cases, Rockstar have been adding less and less to the main part of the DLC, especially with import-export and special vehicle circuits. So with import-export, I think there was only 4 cars that came out with the first part part of the update. I think it was the Tempesta, the Penetrator, and then you had the Elegy and that one Benny's bike. And then all the other ones were saved for the Christmas update and beyond, and a little bit into 2017. And even more recently with Special Vehicle Circuit, if you want to just go by vehicles, we only got 25% of the main content on day one, with the Rustin, Infernus, and Turismo being saved for later dates. So oftentimes you'll get less content on day one. And also, if you're looking forward to the content that's being released, it could actually take a month or longer to come out, like in the case of the Turismo. And on the flip side of that, let's say you don't enjoy a car like the Rustin or the Infernus. Well, on the week that it comes out, you're not going to enjoy it and you won't have anything to look forward to during that week. So those are kind of the pros and the cons of the drip feed. Now let's talk about the pros and the cons of the original method. This is kind of the updates in early 2015 and 2014. So obviously looking at the pros, one of the biggest benefits is you get all the content on day one. For example, when we got the heist update, let's say you completed all the heist on the first day, you would have a ton of brand new vehicles, content, clothing that was all there at your fingertips to enjoy. There was nothing held out for a certain point, which means there was almost a giant rush of new content that was added into the game that can be a little bit overwhelming, but at the same time, a whole lot of fun. So there was nothing that we had to wait on. Now, obviously, the cons for this is after the heist update, there was a huge wait to the next update. So heist came out in early March. We then didn't get the next DLC, which was Ill-Gotten Gains Part 1, till June. So it was basically all of March, all of April, all of May, and then about half of June before we got an update, which was a long time to go on just the heist content that we had received in early March. So obviously the downside to that is you're going to be waiting a whole lot longer to the next set of content to arrive in Grand Theft Auto Online. So now I want to talk about what I would like to see as far as the Gunrunning DLC goes. I almost wish there was a good hybrid of both. I kind of like what Rockstar did in the heist update, and I also like what they did in import-export. I like the idea of unlocking the military vehicles by doing the missions. It kind of gives you a purpose to do the missions, play the content, without just jumping straight to the website and buying everything immediately. I do think that's kind of cool, but at the same rate, I do like a little bit of tunables content too. I like the mystique, I like the surprise of it, I like the anticipation and the hype of waiting for something. Like right now, everyone is so stoked for the Infernus Classic and the Turismo Classic because we know it's in the game, yet we just can't get it yet because Rockstar saved it via the tunable stuff. So I almost wish there could be a nice hybrid of both. I want Rockstar to release maybe 60 to 70% of the content on day one, and then probably save 30% of it for a little bit later on. Now, one thing I didn't even think about, and the reason Rockstar might introduce all the content at once, is because this might be the last update for a while in Grand Theft Auto Online. As of right now, Red Dead Redemption 2 is still slated to come out in fall of 2017, so I would imagine that with a giant DLC like this, Rockstar might take a break afterwards and start promoting and getting ready for Red Dead Redemption 2. So if that's the case, they really wouldn't have a need to hold us over to the next update, especially if it wouldn't be for a while, like in November or even as late as December. And another reason why I think all the content could be released at once is obviously the theme is military here, which means a lot of the vehicles are probably going to be Pegasus related. Now, I'm sure there will be a couple civilian cars, which I do think would be nice and cool, but at the end of the day, I do think a lot of the vehicles we're going to see are going to be jets, are going to be tanks, helicopters, APCs, giant military vehicles, which are more than likely to be Pegasus cars, which probably gives Rockstar more of an idea that they don't want to save those, and they would likely want to put them behind some sort of, not paywall per se, because you're not paying for them, but a mission wall where you have to do something in order to get them done, as compared to just going on the website and buying them. But I really want to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. We don't do a ton of discussion videos here on the channel where I'm just talking about things I'd like to see, or, you know, one thing versus another, but I really want to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. Let me know which style of DLC you like the best. Do you like the drip feed method where you get some of the content day one and then kind of a week by week basis you get more, or do you like seeing all the content added into the game at once where it's just a huge rush and tidal wave of new content and then that's it? There's kind of a nice little wait before that and then the next update. And what would you like to see happen for the Gunrunning DLC, which is going to be the next big update in the game. Obviously, everything that's coming out with special vehicle circuits is drip feed and tunable, so you can't really change that. But I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on what you'd like the new military update to be, and especially given what FunMW2 has said as well, with all the new things like a SecuroServe contract, the idea of having discounted prices, and the idea that it's going to be mostly military stuff, so Rockstar could go back to their heist roots, releasing everything at once. So like I said, let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comment section down below. I'm very interested to hear from you guys down there. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new, or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.